This is Algebra Lesson 11.3, 5-number summaries and box plots. A 5-number summary provides information about the center and distribution or spread of a data set. It uses 5 boundary points: the minimum, the maximum, which we've already talked about, the median, which we've already talked about, and 2 new ones: the first quartile, which is defined as the middle of the lower half of the data, and the third quartile, which is the middle of the upper half of the data set. The graph you see here is a box plot. It shows you the 5 values we just said: the minimum, the first quartile, which we call Q1, the median, the upper or third quartile, and then the maximum. People always ask, well, why is there a Q1 and a Q3? Where's the Q2? And although we don't call it this, technically the minimum would be our Q0, our median would be our Q2, and our max would be Q4. If you think about quarters, that's the base of the word quartile. This is if we have 0 quarters, 1 quarter, 2 quarters, 3 quarters, and 4 quarters. It's like 0, 25% for 1 quarter, 50% for 2 quarters, 75% for 3 quarters, and 1 whole, or 100% for 4 quarters. Our example here then asks us to find the 5-number summary for the penny data. So I'm going to try to get all of this data on the screen. And I can easily identify the minimum and maximum values because it would be the lowest and the highest values. So my minimum value is 1977. And my maximum value is 2006. I remember this from the page before, but I'm going to do the work again. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Working my way to the middle. Boom, 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 boom. And we have 2 values left in the middle that we will have to mean to get our median value of 1995. Now we want to get the middle of the lower half. So I am going to highlight, this is the lower half of my data. So I just want the middle of these, and that'll give me my lower quartile. And then I want the middle of these, and that will give me my upper quartile. I do want to point out that you never include the median value, whether the median is in your data set or not. So I'm not going to match up 95 to 77, I'm going to match up 94 to 77. So if I match up here, we'll go boom, boom, maybe 2 and 2, maybe 3 and 3, and look at that, I have 1 value left. That is my lower quartile, or my first quartile, 1988. I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom half. I do not match 95 to 06. I match 96 to 06. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and that gives me 1999 as my upper quartile. So I have a bit of space here. I'm going to try to use that to draw a box plot. And the how-to instructions are listed here. So first thing we're going to do is draw a line at the median. My median is 1995, so I'm going to draw a line right here. Next, we're going to draw lines for the first and third quartiles. My first quartile was 1988, and my third quartile was 1999. Okay, now we're going to use those to draw a rectangle using the first and third quartile lines as the end of the rectangle. That is the box that constitutes the box plot. Next, we're going to put dots at the minimum and the maximum. So I'm going to put a dot at 1977 and a dot at 2006. And then we're going to use horizontal segments to connect that to the end of the rectangle and that to the other end of the rectangle. Those are the whiskers of the box and whisker plot. So this is showing our distribution. We have a small-ish box here, which tells us that we have a lot of data there. It's a cluster of data. And we have kind of a long whisker over here, which tells us there's not as much, there's more spread in that data. So there's the same number of points here as the number of points here. Since one's more spread out and one's more clustered, that's what this graph is telling us. Question 4, we already know how to get the range. That would be the maximum value minus the minimum value. But now we're going to look at the interquartile range, which is abbreviated IQR. That would be subtracting my quartile values. So my max is going to be 2006 minus 1977. And my IQR will be 1999. That's my third quartile value minus 1988. That is my upper quartile value. So let's go 2006 minus 1977. 29 is my range. And we'll go 1999 minus 1988. And we have 11 as our interquartile range. Question 5, how many pennies fall between the first and third quartiles? We're just counting between here and here. How many is that? So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 values. And I know that there's 26 values altogether because I counted them last lesson. So if we do 14 divided by 26, we get 54%. Now this value should be very, very close to 50% in the IQR every single time. I think we're a little off because we're rounding, obviously. There's no way we would have gotten exactly 50. Well, I guess if I had just, shouldn't have counted both of the IQR values. Number 6, how many pennies fall between the minimum and first quartile? Minimum and first quartile. So we're going to count how many in this chunk right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 or 7, depending on if we include that 1988 value. That should be approximately 25% every single time in each quartile. And that's where our quartiles are really going back to the word quarter again. 25% in each chunk. 2 chunks should give us 50%. 3 chunks should give us 75%, just like 3 quarters give us 75 cents. Okay, that's it for these notes. Good luck on the exercises, and please let me know if you have any questions.